Great evening, everybody. This is the stream of the Community Action Team, the 756 Battlecast. I am Conrad Schesventer, coming originally from Virginia Beach, but still live from my house in the West Haven area. Now, tonight's Community Action Team event is the Greater Portsmouth Forum, and we reached out to as many of the City Council candidates as possible to bring you a great show. Now, the 2022 candidates for the council seats are as follows. Sharon Denise Anderson, School Board Councilmember Paul Battle, Nathan Clark, Ronald Diggs, Edward Diggs, Lakeisha Onyx Hicks, Mark Councilman Bill Moody, Donna Sy, School Board Member Vernon Tillage, and Councilmember Christopher Woodard. Now, there have been some scheduling conflicts with some of the candidates. Scratch only an hour or so ago, one of those who said that they would like to be on tonight. Now, the cat misses Prince as well as all who couldn't make it tonight, and we leave open an opportunity to be on the cat show in the near future. So just hit me up. We can schedule it and make sure as many viewers as possible can hear your opinions on great Portsmouth matters. Now, prepared 10, 6 that I passed around of Portsmouth residents, and 4 that are related goals of the community action team. So I'll have no particular order to the folks being asked, and we'll go from there. And of course, viewer questions are more than welcome, and I'll try to get them in too. So let us bring the candidates on to the show. Let's start here with Donna Sy, and then Board Member Clue Atkinson, and Council Member Bill Moody. Everyone at screen here. So let's go from which I with Miss Donna Sy. And your favorite slice of Portsmouth. Miss Donna.
Yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I would like you to just tell us a little. Yes. Yes, indeed. I would like you to tell us about yourself and your favorite slice of Portsmouth.
My favorite what? Oh, okay. I see the. All right. This is very
Slice of Portsmouth. You're just part of the Portsmouth.
This is very difficult for me to be on this show with you, so I apologize for having difficulty. But I was raised in Stony Creek, Virginia, on a sharecropping farm, working hard in the fields, working hard, taking care of the gardens, and we had to work physically, and we had to do everything we're told to do. So I don't know how to talk about myself in this situation. So all I know is
That's okay. Glad to hear from you. Let's move on. I don't want to cut you off there. How about Board Member Clue Atkinson? Just tell us a little bit about yourself and your favorite slice of Portsmouth.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lakeisha Clue Atkinson. I'm born and raised in Portsmouth. I attended high school at Woodrow Wilson High School, where I graduated, and furthered my education at Norfolk State University. Portsmouth has always been home to me. I have family in the city of Portsmouth, friends, and I just never left Portsmouth. So Portsmouth, helped me be the person that I am today. So I have a vested interest in Portsmouth. So with that in mind, my favorite slice of Portsmouth is a lot of areas. I love High Street. I love the restaurant area on High Street. I love that on hot summer days I can sit out on the outside area of Fish and Slips and enjoy happy hour and seafood. um, having trips to the Children's Museum. It's so many hidden gems in Portsmouth. Paradise Creek Park. is a gem in Portsmouth where I go to meditate, and it has an amazing walking trail. So there's several slices of Portsmouth that I love, but those are a few I wanted to share.
Love to hear about that. Councilman Bill Moody, just tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your favorite slice of Portsmouth.
Thank you, Conrad. The audio's not coming in too well either, but thank you for asking me to share a little bit about my background. I'm also a Portsmouth native. I'm a United States Air Force veteran. Attended Portsmouth Public Schools for 11 years. Due to an annexation and decision, I graduated from Western Branch High School, actually. Elected to council in 1998 on a pro-business platform, and obviously re-elected in 02, 06, 2010, 2014, 2018. It's good to be with everyone this evening, and hello to Ms. Sy and Ms. Kluax as well. Good to be here.
We'll admit, right as you were speaking, we also had Mr. Yes, sir. We heard you well and good. We just had on Mr. Vernon Tillage, school board member, who has popped in right in here. So I'd like to field the same first question to him as well. If he could just tell us a little bit about himself and his favorite Portsmouth. And let me bring myself off the screen so we can get him on the screen.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Sorry for my tardiness. I was attending a civic league meeting. So yes, my name is Vernon Tillage. I am currently running for city council. I am a school board member here in the city of Portsmouth. I was elected to serve on a school board in 2020. Prior to serving on school board, I obtained my Bachelor of Science degree from Old Dominion University, where I obtained my degree in political science. After graduating from Old Dominion University, I began my professional career, working in the Virginia General Assembly, and then later on in the United States Congress, where I worked for United States Senator Mark Warner as his outreach representative for the Hampton Roads region. During my time at Old Dominion University, I actually worked as a school bus driver in order to get myself through school. So I've been fortunate enough to work as an employee of our school division. I've been a student of our school division, graduating from Churchland High School, and now serving on our school board. Currently, I work for Virginia Natural Gas, where I serve as their community affairs coordinator, where I manage a $1.5 million budget for their charitable giving program, in addition to corporate sponsorships, as well as managing internal and external affairs on behalf of Virginia Natural Gas. My background not only does it include legislation, community affairs, and state budget, also economic development. I've worked with the Hampton Roads Alliance, and we've partnered with Dominion Energy with the introduction of this new industry of offshore wind that is coming to Hampton Roads that will actually be based here in the city of Portsmouth. That will be a huge investment for our city. And it would actually be a life-changing generational economic development stimulant for not only the city of Portsmouth, but for the entire eastern seaboard of the United States. And for this to be the first offshore wind farm off of federal waters is huge, and it's based right here in the city of Portsmouth. And so I'm running for city council because we are in desperate need of leadership with integrity and vision. Portsmouth is in a prime position to win, and it is time for us to win. And so I hope that throughout this forum, I'll be able to express a little bit more of why I'm running and my stances on my platform. So thank you so much, Conrad, for having me.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining us. I want to move on to the second question, which is about the toll of tolls. Now, I moved to Portsmouth in April, but I work in Virginia Beach. A round trip during the weekday, and I have an easy pass to make it somewhat tolerable, but make less than $35,000 a year, so the hit of tolls still hurt. And there's a toll relief program that VDOT runs, and it happens to be funded by Elizabeth City Crossing. What are your thoughts on the tolls and programs like the relief program, and especially what can council do to help out? And I will just go back from whence we came. Let's start with Mr. Verner. I think you are muted. Let me unmute you.
Oh, my apology. I was just talking away. Yeah, so I believe that the toll deal is by far the worst deal in American history, but definitely Virginia history. That toll deal should have never been made. And I am definitely in support of on behalf of the city, of us introducing legislation through our delegation to continue to fight the tolls, to have them removed. And in the meantime, I'm in full support of working on programs that will help alleviate the cost through the toll relief program. As you mentioned, the current toll relief program is for individuals that are making under $35,000. I do not believe that $35,000 annual salary is sufficient. I believe that we need to up that number to at least $50,000 because we have so many individuals that go through that tunnel on a daily basis for work. And that's basic. That's what they need to survive, is to work. And so to be able to have a toll bill, I mean, you figure if you're going through their round trip, you're looking at anywhere between, depending on the time of day you're going, you're looking between $4 to $8 a day. You times that by 30 days out of the month. I mean, you're looking at a car note, if not more. And so I would definitely be a strong proponent of working with our state legislators to help to eliminate, also to increase the toll relief program, and then also our city as a city council working to find ways to help mitigate it. We do have dollars that we can help to offset the cost for our citizens, especially for our city workers and our school teachers who may work in Portsmouth but may live in other cities. We need to be able to find ways to keep them here and find ways to help mitigate this toll costs.
Let's move on to Councilman Moody. The same question to you regarding the toll.
Well, like everyone else, I'm very much aware that the tolls currently imposed on our citizens puts a financial hardship on our working men and women who have to travel back and forth on a daily basis. I also joined with citizens to fight those tolls. We took it all the way to the state Supreme Court. Our contention was that tolls were a tax. Unfortunately, state Supreme Court ruled otherwise. And that was as high as we could go with that fight. With that said, I think we should continue to try to get our state representatives to introduce legislation to buy down the tolls or either buy out that contract. That was as Mr. Tillage said, that is the worst contract probably in the history of contracts, maybe since Manhattan was sold by Native Americans for a few cents. But that contract should have never been let, and it continues to be a hardship. So we need to make sure that's in our legislative package each year, that we seek to buy down those onerous tolls.
Board Member Atkinson, I'd like you to take your turn here on tolls.
I mean, it's what my fellow colleagues have already said. I mean, the tolls are. It's personal for me because I actually have experienced the price hike with tolls. I have experienced to where my tolls were got up to half of my annual income, I have spoke with citizens who only make $8,000 to $10,000 a year, and they owe $15,000 in tolls. So it was definitely a cancer for the citizens of Portsmouth. It was a cancer for our businesses in Portsmouth. I mean, businesses seen it since the tolls have been implemented. Businesses have seen a decrease in their sales. They've seen a decrease in their customers frequenting their bars, etc. Like I said, it just was a cancer. So, I mean, how do we combat that? I mean, we got to fight for better policies. We got to fight for a buyout. That's the only it being resolved. I don't think toll relief or reduction in tolls at this point can aid those that are already in debt. I mean, if we can get a researcher to research how many people have filed bankruptcy or have dropped in their credit scores, I'm sure there's a high amount of Portsmouth citizens that can attest to that tolls being the main cause. So that's my solution to that. Thank you.
And now from Ms. Donna Sy, concerned citizen, I would like you to give your take here on tolls and what you might want to do about it.
Well, everybody said something, so I can't add anything.
I guess good take. How about we move on to the Rivers Casino project, which is a go now. Let's start with going back in the other direction, Ms. Donna Sy. What impact do you think the project will have, first on the economy, second on the community, and any ideas on mitigating negative effects?
Well, people talk to me and tell me what they think. So all I can say is they're very concerned about it. They're concerned about having gangs and stuff. But I don't want to go on in detail, but I'm just saying that the people I talk to are concerned about what it's going to bring to Portsmouth. And we'll just wait and see.
Let's move on to Board Member Atkinson. Your take on the effects on the economic impact of the Rivers Casino and the community impact and any negative effects you might want to try to mitigate.
I mean, hopefully, I mean, it's there. So we gotta, deal with it. So hopefully the casino will bring in some tax dollars. That's a plus. Hopefully it will drive people into Portsmouth to shop, play, and stay. And then Rivers has said several times on calls and in forums that they would be invested in the Portsmouth community. So hopefully that's their word, that they will invest in our community and also in our businesses. I heard on a forum that some of the local restaurants would have an opportunity to be in the casino. So hopefully that's true. And that would be a great thing, as far as anything else, I just feel like it's you got to look at the positive. Hopefully we can build off of it and move forward, and hopefully the things that they said they would do, they will do it.
Thank you so much. Councilman Moody, your take on the Rivers Casino and perhaps the future input it might have on the area.
Well, to begin with, I'm not a gambler per se, but 61% of our citizens supported the legislation to build the casino. It's being built without taxpayer funds, which I think is an important fact. It's also projected, and I say projected, you never know until it actually has a history, but it's projected to bring a substantial amount of tax revenue. I think up to maybe $16 million a year. and 1,400 jobs. I think a lot of people are aware that they're currently having job fairs to fill those positions that will be created. I think the casino will probably be a catalyst for development in the surrounding area. But what I don't want it to be is a catalyst to increase crime. With that said, Rivers Casino is going to have substantial security at the casino itself, and in obviously in the parking lots and what have you. But even though I personally don't support gambling, now that citizens said that they want it, we have it, and I think we need to work to make it the best darn casino in the region at this point in time. It would be counterproductive to work against that at this point. So that's where I stand on it, and wish them a lot of success, and we'll go from there.
Board Member Tillett, I would like to hear your take on the casino project and the effects on both the economy and the community.
Yes, most definitely. So, as has been previously stated, the casino is coming regardless of any one's feeling about it. It is here, it is being built, and it will be open the beginning of 2023. And so it is currently projected to bring in about $16 million annually in tax revenue. And based on its performance, it has a possibility of going from a 7% tax rate to up to a 8% tax rate based on its revenue. I do believe that in order for us to really make this casino the very best that it can be, we have to have economic development around it to support the casino. We need to be able to build up that area to be able to support economic development that will complement the casino. We need to be able to uplift that community that the casino is located at, to be able to secure it, to be able to provide those residents with a sense of safety, so that everyone over there has a sense of, as I mentioned, a sense of safety. We also need to make sure that we're using those dollars wisely. $16 million is a lot for the city of Portsmouth when it comes to economic development. And so to be able to use some of those dollars to help fund our school division, to be able to fund our public safety, that's crucial. So I really believe that this casino can really be something big. It can really be a driving engine to make sure that Portsmouth is on the map for success on the regional level. Right now, we have 7 cities that make up the Hampton Roads region, and Portsmouth right now, we're kind of like the stepchild of the region. And if we play our cards right, no pun intended, this casino really could be a make or break for the city of Portsmouth. But it's going to be up to this next city council to ensure that this casino provides financial stability for the city, but that it also provides public safety security for all the citizens. And I think Councilman Moody mentioned as well, the casino is set to, it's going to have very good security at this casino. So I do not believe that the casino itself will be unsafe. But of course, we just need to ensure that the surrounding communities and the city as a whole is taken care of. In addition, with the funding, I would love to see some money going into mental health services and substance abuse, as well as addiction. Because as you know, with gambling comes addiction, as well as other types of addiction abuse. And so we need to make sure that we're protecting our citizens with that as well by investing those dollars in those programs.
Thank you for your response, and I also thank you for bringing up the word region, because my next question is on regionalism. And we're going to begin with you, by the way, Board Member Tillage. Regionalism is a subject getting sort of mixed reviews around the 757. Is Portsmouth getting enough benefits from it, and will you look to help it get more benefits going forward?
Okay, so regionalism, I'm a huge proponent of regionalism. As I mentioned earlier in my opening statement, I was working with the Hampton Roads Alliance, which is our regional economic development authority for the Hampton Roads region. And so I have been around many regional tables when it comes to the conversations of economic development, when it comes to the success. I've also been a part of the team that has helped to build the 757 recovery framework, which is the framework and the plan to help us. I think my light just went out. It is the plan and the to help us to be able to get back our economy from after the pandemic, and to be able to really tap into the resources that make Hampton Roads. And as the heartbeat of Hampton Roads, I believe Portsmouth is perfectly located. We are at mile marker 0. You cannot get to one side of our region without having to go through Portsmouth to get to the other side of our region. Portsmouth is home to the United States Coast Guard. We are an official Coast Guard city. We are the home of the Virginia Port. We are the home of the Norfolk Naval Shipyard. We are the home to the region's economic forces. When you look at our 757 framework, the entities that I just mentioned, they are the top factors, the top players in that framework, and we're home to those entities, yet we're not benefiting the way in which we should benefit from. I've attended regional meetings for quite a few years, and to see the lack of Portsmouth representation at these meetings, and I'm not just referring to elected officials from Portsmouth, I'm referring to city staff. It's heartbreaking. A lot of these regional meetings are where your deals are made. It's where the projects are proposed, and we're not at the table. And so I do see Portsmouth as having a very large role in the success of regionalism. But in order to be on that playing field as well, we've got to have the respect from the rest of the region. And right now, the actions of our current city council has put us in a position where it is lowered the respect that the surrounding cities have for Portsmouth. And so if we're ever going to expect to get on that playing field of regionalism, we're going to have to build that level of respect and integrity so that we can really become the 757 that we really dream of.
I would like to pass the torch next to Councilman Moody here. What would be your take on regionalism, and if Portsmouth is benefiting enough from it?
Well, I think your question mentioned at this point in time, regionalism has mixed reviews. And I think that's a pretty accurate statement. I think currently probably the best example of regionalism benefiting the citizens is SIPSA. That has worked. It's especially worked since the representatives on SIPSA actually came from went from elected officials to business people who had experience in that industry. But regionalism, there's a lot of talk of regionalism, but very few examples past SIPSA. I think it has potential to probably benefit all the citizens of Hampton Roads if it was applied. But currently, right now, we have cities that are recruiting Portsmouth's firefighters, police officers. So it's competition instead of regionalism. Obviously, Portsmouth cannot compete dollar-wise with the likes of Virginia Beach and Norfolk. A penny in those cities represents a lot more than the city of Portsmouth. So we're at a disadvantage. I don't think we've always, our seat at the table hasn't always been respected as a city. I think we need people, and we need to have a voice to speak up. And there are areas that the whole region, I think, could benefit if we use the example of SIPSA and regionalize some of our current services as a region. But even in the area of economic development on a region wise, when there's an opportunity, prospect, they say that the prospect is given a tour of each of the cities. But at the end of the day, I've always suspected that somehow we're getting the short end of the stick when it comes to regionalism. I do agree with Mr. Tillage that I think we need more people involved that will project our voice, project that we are the center of the region, if you may, and we have industries that the whole region needs. So we need to exercise the leverage that we have on a regional basis.
Board Member Atkinson, I'm curious if you also have that positive opinion of journalism and whether or not Portsmouth is actually benefiting from it.
Well, I mean, like you said, it is mixed reviews. I mean, if you look at the visual representation of Portsmouth compared to other cities, it seems like, you know, we're always behind. We have opportunities and we drop the ball. I mean, for an example, we had an opportunity to host Dorian Finney's gala in Portsmouth, the city where he's from, and it ended up being hosted in Norfolk. And Norfolk sponsored the event. They donated money and pitched to Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. So it's like that was a missed opportunity for our city. And you know, when you talk about regionalism, we can't miss these opportunities. Other cities don't miss opportunities. Other cities value our resources and always are always open to partnerships. It's like it's always when you're trying to do something in Portsmouth. When people are trying to start businesses in Portsmouth, it's setbacks. It's you need this. It's complicated, and a lot of people say, "Hey, you know, forget about it. The process is just draining. It's too hard." I mean, I hear that from people all the time. So, we can't compete on any level if the average person or a stranger coming into Portsmouth can't get things done. You know, how do we, you know, like I said, expect to compete? I mean, in events that you see representation from other cities, you never see Portsmouth. I actually have a relationship with, you know, at least one council person in every city. So, I mean, we just have to start inserting ourselves into other things. You know, we got to start showing up to other cities, state of the cities, you know, being more aggressive, like, hey, we're here, you know. Thanks.
For you, Ms. Donasai, I'm curious what your take on regionalism is and whether Portsmouth is actually benefiting enough from it.
Well, regionalism was created by the federal government to take away local government's right to self-govern. So that is the issues I'm dealing with, that we no longer have a right to self-govern, and regionalism was created to take away our rights, and they have been very successful.
All right, we're going to move on to a question regarding Portsmouth citizens' public trust and whether or not it needs, as the council, to act better, from city managers to possible private benefits from public dollars. What do you all believe should be improved here on the public trust? And I'm in with Ms. Donasai.
Number one, we have no organization and structure of the city. Okay, number one. Boards and commissions aren't attached to departments. The communication is absent. We're just, you know, capital improvement plan. They just put out whatever they want to with no organizational structure. So all I have to say in Portsmouth, there's no organizational structure of the whole city. departments, divisions, um, boards and commissions, capital improvement plan. Nothing is in order in Portsmouth. And then you get people sitting up there that, since there's no order, they just say whatever they want to say and disagree and all that business. So Portsmouth, the public does not trust Portsmouth. And I don't trust Portsmouth either, elected or appointed.
All righty. Board Member Atkinson, your opinion on the public trust here in Portsmouth and maybe something you might want to improve upon.
I think it's half and half. I think you have, a set group of people that, is okay and has trust. And I think there's some people, that don't have trust. And the people that don't have trust are more vocal. So, if you're looking at that from the outside, you think, oh, we're really like shaking. It's really bad. But some things that, we can do is, start with setting an example as a board, improving our boardmanship skills. And what I learned in a session that was held at a school board conference this weekend, where our chair and superintendent presented, they said, disagree without being disagreeable. So we don't always have to agree on things, but in a public forum, we can still be professional, we can still be respectful, and we can handle ourselves like the mature board or council members that we are. So one way to build trust is first fix that relationship. Once you fix that relationship, the public will feel like we're able to handle our business effectively. But right now, they just don't feel like that. So that's the one start, to fix our relationship and represent ourselves respectfully on council.
Councilman Moody, I'm curious your thoughts here on the public trust and what you might be able to partake in improving upon.
Well, first of all, the trust has to be earned, and due to the current actions of some members of council that represent the consensus currently, they have undermined that trust by their actions. When you abruptly fire a city manager without cause after only being on the job for about 11 months, that undermines trust. When you try to hire a city attorney that has legal baggage, not even a driver's license, that undermines trust. When you exclude 3 members of council from important decisions being made, that undermines trust. When you're less than transparent in how you come to decisions, that undermines trust. So I can see where the public trust in the current council is probably at a very low percentage, and we have to change that. We have to stop the dysfunction and the embarrassment that is being caused by the 4 members of our current council. But with that said, hopefully in January we will have a council that will start to rebuild that trust by making decisions that are transparent, decisions that benefit the entire city, and treating one another on council with respect, and treating our mayor with respect. So I think we can certainly rebuild that with the right makeup of council, and hopefully we'll have that right makeup come January.
Alrighty. Now, Board Member Tillett, your turn here with your view of the public trust and improving upon it.
Yes. So I have to agree with Councilman Moody. The public trust in our city council right now is very low. When I say that I want to run for city council because we deserve leadership with integrity, our city council, they lost the city's trust when you're doing undermined decisions. When you abruptly fire a city manager without any cause, when you go on to hire a new city manager, yet you leave 3 members of city council out of that decision-making process, that is undermining the intelligence as well as the trust of the citizens of the city.
Yeah.
During the last 7 months, the city council has literally acted in a manner of immaturity. You watch a city council meeting where there's nothing but personal attacks. They are attacking each other instead of attacking and tackling the issues that the people of Portsmouth are facing. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I serve on school board with 9 members. We don't all agree at all. There's many times that none of us agree, but we handle those situations in the back room. That's what closed sessions are for. And when we come out in the front, we come out as a unified front with the decisions already to be made because we've worked out those kinks in the back. We've worked out the back and forth. We need that on city council. Image is everything. And when we have a council that is still throwing those personal shots at each other, how can I trust you to be able to lead and to actually address my needs as a citizen? And I watched a city council meeting not too long ago where the city council spent nearly 2 hours discussing a piece of property to put a storage unit on. And it turned into personal attacks. Why are we not talking about the issues that matter? Why are we not talking about the kitchen table issues? We have people out here in this city that are having to make the hard decisions of whether or not they're going to be able to afford groceries this month or buy prescriptions. But we're fussing about a piece of property, and then we're fussing about personal attacks on one another. That shows a lack of distrust. And then to be able to think that the public's okay with it, no. And I hope that the citizens of Portsmouth send a message to the city council and to the region that Portsmouth will not continue to tolerate leadership who serves them without integrity, who serves them without being transparent, because you can't be transparent when you can't even tell us the process in which you hired the city manager. That's a problem. And so in order to be able to build that trust up, we've got to have people on this council who are that are going to hold themselves accountable, who are going to be transparent, and who are going to speak the truth instead of trying to cover up.
Alrighty. Now, here is my last question of the ones that I fielded around Portsmouth friends to give me their opinion before we go on to the cat-based question. Violent crime in Portsmouth is a worry. What is your understanding of where the root of crime is coming from, and how do you want to fix it on council? And I'll begin with Mr. Vernon Hill.
Okay, so violent crime is public safety as a whole right now is out of control in the city of Portsmouth. Our crime level, our gun violence level, in order to address the needs of public safety, we first need to listen to the public safety officials, the men and women in which fight for us every day in the streets to make sure that we are safe. Many of our police force is understaffed. Our EMTs and fire are understaffed. They're underpaid. And I think it was Councilor Moody that mentioned a few minutes ago about how other cities it's like we're competing just to keep public safety officers. We need a council that's going to invest in public safety, making public safety a top priority so that we can recruit and retain our public safety officials, and also investing in technology and resources that will help aid our police officers in solving crimes and also deterring crimes. In addition, we need to continue to work with our community partners who are out here helping us to make the connections in the community to help mitigate the gun violence in our city. We need those organizations because they're the ones that are connected to the people. We also need to be able to work and find ways that are going to take holistic approaches to solving the root causes of crime and poverty. When we look at some of the reasons in which crime exists, and not just in Portsmouth, but these are some reasons all across the nation and possibly the world, is crime stems from lack of opportunity. It stems from poverty. And so it also stems from mental illness, substance abuse. Portsmouth is a locality that has a high rate of substance abuse and addiction issues. We have a lot of mental illness that needs to be addressed. We have no programs for mental health, we have some substance abuse, but as a city we're not tackling those things. We have private companies that are here that are doing it. In Portsmouth we have Bon Secours Mayorview that does have a psych center. I've spoken to some staff at the psych center. They are understaffed. Most of their beds are full. We don't have the adequate resources to be able to provide for our citizens. I've spoken to a gentleman who was low income, who literally said out his mouth, there's been times in which he has committed crimes to go to jail to be able to get health care. We have a huge problem with health care in the city of Portsmouth. Once again, our city council is not addressing the kitchen table issues that the people of Portsmouth are facing. We have to address the basic human needs. And once we address the basic human needs, we will be able to get a handle on a lot of things in the city of Portsmouth. But it's going to take, as I mentioned, investing in our public safety. It's going to take investing and building positive, efficient relationships with our community organizations, as well as investing in our citizens through health services, mental health, as well as substance abuse. This is not something that just happened overnight, so it's not going to be something that's going to be solved overnight. But we can be going in the right direction as far as crime and gun violence is concerned. As far as gun violence, we have got to get a hold of that immediately. We are losing our mothers, our children, our fathers. We are losing people left and right. And when is enough going to be enough? We've got to address these issues. We've got to secure our streets. We've got to secure our schools. We've got to secure our citizens of Portsmouth. And we've got to address these things in our council meetings instead of taking personal attacks on other members of council. Once we begin to get off of personal attacks and actually focus on the issues of the people, we will see a city council that will be able to actually address the needs of our people and help to solve some of the crime here in the city of Portsmouth.
We're moving on to Councilman Moody, and while that answer was very comprehensive, I would like you also to have a crack at where you think crime might be stemming from and what you might want to do about it.
Well, the number one responsibility of any government is the protection of its citizens. And, we all know that crime is not just a Portsmouth problem, it's a national problem, state problem. But our charge here in Portsmouth is to keep our citizens safe in our 29 square miles. There are a lot of causes. I think Mr. Tillage touched base on them. I think poverty certainly is one. I think mental illness is. But we also have to face the fact that in our society, there are people who want to do bad things, and you will never erase that. Unfortunately, in our city, we have gangs. We have drugs are on the street. I understand they're They're plentiful and getting more so. So those are two things. I think some of the root causes of crime. But how are we going to combat that is the question. I think technology can play a part in that. I think we need to utilize all available technology. In fact, Interim Chief Jenkins did, I think, a wonderful presentation at the last council meeting, and he went over some of the technology that's available. In fact, one of those the city is purchasing called Fuses, and I didn't realize this. The chief stated that we have 400 cameras throughout our city. Unfortunately, none of those cameras are coordinated where they communicate with one another. What this Fuses program does, it will create a network out of those 400 cameras with a central monitoring system where they'll be able to see what's going on at these 400 locations, and even to the point where our police officers will be able to use their cell phones to access that information. But I think technology is one piece. The other piece, as I said here tonight, we're approximately anywhere between 80 to 100 police officers short. And we've got to halt the turnover, the loss of police officers. Retraining a public safety officer or firefighter is extremely expensive. In fact, I'm told it's probably over $50,000 in training. So when we lose experienced police officers and firefighters to surrounding cities, that's a costly ordeal for us. The lag time of getting someone that's trained back out on the street, plus the expense of training. But I think a big component of combating crime is getting back to community policing. And I'm talking about neighborhood impact officers. We've had that before. It worked. And I think we need to return to that by having familiar faces, police officers in the communities. They get to know the community. They get to know what's going on, and the people get to know them, and there becomes a bond between the two. And the community is an important element of combating crime. We've got to have people in the communities who feel comfortable with sharing the information that they may see. And to do that, I think community policing is a way to build that trust and to build that bond. But we also have to have a judicial system that is going to not release bad people back out on the street. They can't be a revolving door. If people are have committed a crime, they need to pay for it. And I believe that people can be rehabilitated, but you can't commit a crime 1 week and be back out on the street in a few weeks. I don't think that's time enough for rehabilitation. Mr. Tillage mentioned the mental illness. I do believe we do need to invest in that. I think there are people that are doing bad things that have mental problems. And poverty, Lord knows, before you're going to go hungry, people are going to take what's not theirs, unfortunately. But to combat the poverty, that's why we have to, as a council, we've got to focus on economic development and bringing investment into our city. This current council has labeled Portsmouth toxic as far as development. They turned down phase 2 of Harbor Vista, which would have generated over $500,000 in tax revenue. The climate controlled self-storage facility off Effingham, the same way. They killed both of those projects unwarranted. But we need to get the investment back in our city so they can bring those jobs. But we need to deal with the pay on our public safety personnel. We need to deal with the pay compression as well. And not only police officers, our firefighters are in the same situation. We got fire trucks with 3 firefighters on it when it should have 4. I was down on Effingham a few weeks ago, and at Station 1, and they had a fire call, and out rolls from the garage a fire truck with the city of Norfolk on it. I went to the ceremony out at City Park, National Night Out Against Crime, and lo and behold, out there on public display was a fire engine that had Virginia Beach on it, and we've got too much of our fire equipment not being repaired properly. So we've got to end that stuff. So that's my thoughts on crime. And yeah, the guns. I had a neighbor that his house was broken into and his guns were stolen. I don't think they've been. Most of them have been recovered yet. So it's a lot of stolen guns on the street. Kids are having shootouts from car to car. We had a business off of County Street just a week ago got shot up because people were having a gun battle. So we got to stop that stuff.
I want to move to Board Member Atkinson and your take on where crime enforcement might be originating from and what you would like to do about it on council.
So I'm going to shift on this question because, we know the obvious root causes. But I'm going to just mention another root cause, is the tolls. If you think about it, ever since the tolls were implemented in Portsmouth, you've seen an increase in property crimes. There was an increase in home invasions, break-ins in vehicles. We lost count of how many times a person has gotten their tags or their decals stolen or their windows bust in for inspection stickers, because if you owe money on the tolls, guess what? You can't have your license. You can't register your vehicle. So if you can't get a license and you can't register your vehicle, guess what? You can't get a job. You can't go to work. You're out of income. You're out of funding. No transportation. Oh, wait a minute. You attempt to drive this vehicle with an expired inspection sticker and no inspection sticker, and guess what? You get stopped by the police. So now you're in the court system, and all because of what? The root cause of tolls. And that's what a lot of citizens in Portsmouth are dealing with right now. I speak to so many people. Each time their decals are stolen, they have to take off work to go to DMV and pay to get new decals and new tags. How inconveniencing is that? But that's what the tolls have had on Portsmouth that you don't hear so often or people don't speak about. No lawmakers have fought against that. And we've been bringing this up about the licenses and the registrations so many times to lawmakers. No one has advocated for our citizens. So, like I said, outside of the obvious, the tolls. I mean, we can go into the lack of staff, lack of resources. I mean, I was just out in the community driving, substance abuse. A gentleman passed out. A young lady was with him. I stopped, and he needed some Narcan. The firefighters and the ambulances had to come and give him Narcan. Then it was two more gentlemen down the street. I said, wow, y'all having a busy day. They spend most of their time handling substance abuse issues. So you're already understaffed. So what if there's a medical emergency? So we got to get a hold on, like I said, the obvious. We gotta get some money in Portsmouth for our public safety workers. We already can't compete with other cities because I see the pay scale. We're far below, but we do have some happy people that don't mind staying in Portsmouth. They're invested in Portsmouth as public safety workers. So let's retain them. Let's provide them with resources. Let's get them a seat at the table. I believe we should have a public safety, committee where we get their insight. I mean, we don't know their day-to-day operations, so why not have them at the table or have a committee where they can say, "Hey, these are our needs. Give us updates." I haven't seen recently a public safety update at a council meeting from police, from fire. Give them that voice. Let's be transparent with that. And like I said, outside of the other stuff, look at our rec centers, look at our libraries. Like, I can go to other cities and have my events in other libraries because our library is not up to par for me to host an event. Why do I have to go to another city when we can keep that income in our city? I mean, that's things that people think are little things, but those are big things. We have nothing to be proud of. I'm proud to go to Norfolk to Slover Library and have a gala. I'm not proud to go to Portsmouth Library because I can't. We took the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame that could have been used for an event center, and I guess it's a police station, but we could have put the police somewhere else. That's downtown prime property that could have been an event center. So it's a lot of things that that we can work on and change, and we can't do it all at one time, but we can work together to make it happen. So that's my tidbit.
All right. And Ms. Donna Sy, I would like to know your take on where Portsmouth crime comes from and what you might want to do about it on council.
Well, crime, the root cause of crime comes from the home. You gotta be trained by your mom and dad to how to act right. All right. And the homes in Portsmouth, many of them are complexes, urban complexes. And do they have stuff in it for family? A swimming pool or whatever you call those playgrounds, whatever you call it, in their backyard, so that they can have relationships with one another, learn how to behave. And so that's where we need to focus on, is the family. And you can't fix something because, when the government makes these rules, they're going to do what they're going to do. Then, I know I'm pushing buttons all the time, but it don't matter. Nobody listens. And it's okay. I'm going to still do what I'm doing because I'm called to do what I'm doing. But violent crime begins in the home. Mother, father, teaching them, going to the church of your choice to know that there's a ruler, a natural law. And that's where it starts.
All right. I will admit I appreciate how often you go out to city council meetings and give your opinions on each thing. So I do want to give you props for that as a fellow concerned citizen. And hope you guys don't mind. Let's move on. Let's try to make it a little more rapid fire as we're going to do our cat team based questions here. And it's one up toward Miss John's question is this. It's about workforce housing. And don't forget, workforce housing is defined as housing that is affordable to households earning between 60 and 120% of area median income, which, this targets people who are police officers, firefighters, teachers, healthcare workers, retail clerks, the like. What would you like to do to increase workforce housing in Portsmouth, Ms. Sy?
Well, I was talking to a lady at West Winds, and she told me that these folks that you just listed aren't able to rent the units because they don't make enough money, because they go by percentage. Even with the discount, she says they can't rent in West Winds, and I was shocked on that one. So, and she was telling me about, because of the recession, I don't know how to talk about all that stuff, but what's going on in our financial market is affecting the housing. So that's all I can say. It's in trouble.
All right. All right. Board Member Atkinson, I would like you to take forth here about the opinion on workforce housing, what you might want to do as a council member about it.
Well, we could start by, vetting the developers that, that want to build housing in Portsmouth, and it's as simple as having that conversation. Hey, are you gonna have affordable housing? Will you offer incentives to public safety workers, to teachers, to our primary workforce? So this is a matter of a simple conversation. Like I said, the most I can say about that is vetting those developers, and if we have to come up with a memorandum, so that we can make sure that the housing is affordable, then that's what we can do as a council. Provide have them have an MUA with them, but like I said, that's it's as simple as that. Having conversations is everything.
How about Councilman Moody? What would you be thinking about your ideas on workforce housing and making it more principled in the sport?
Well, interesting. I was just at a ribbon cutting for the Holly Point development, which is 50 apartment homes located on Effingham Street in Portsmouth. It was built on a parcel of property that sat vacant for approximately 30 years. And that's a workforce development property. In fact, I was the deciding vote really to make that project happen. And I'm proud of it. With that said, after my vote, I had a telephone call from a developer who I won't name, but I listened to him for probably over 30 minutes, telling me why he was disappointed that I voted for that project. So there's a stigma, I think, assigned with workforce housing that shouldn't be. I think it's unwarranted. I think there's a great need, especially with our industries, with the shipyard, with the port, and tradespeople have a need for that. In fact, in 2020, there was a JLARC study done by the state, and they I think what they found out was that the Virginians most affected by a lack of affordable housing are renters, people with low incomes, and they're most likely to live in cities like Portsmouth in populated areas. And more often than not, their jobs are in essential occupations. So we need to be receptive to developers like the Woda Cooper Group, who did the Holly Point project. We need to be receptive to them, and when they want to build out a project, I think we need to support that their efforts, and it takes time to finance a project like that, because there are federal dollars available for that, and it comes through the Commonwealth of Virginia. That's who administers those dollars for those workforce projects. So there is no stigma involved with it. I think as the mortgage rates increase, which we're seeing now, I think you're going to find even a greater need for workforce housing. And a lot of citizens think the word workforce is Section 8. It is not. It is indexed to what you earn, what your income is. And I think that's certainly a fair way to do it. And I think we need to be more receptive to it.
Board Member Taylor, that would like your turn here on workforce housing and what you might want to do on council.
Yes. So the city of Portsmouth is in desperate need of workforce / affordable housing. When you look at the median income for a citizen in the city of Portsmouth, you're looking at a roughly $36,000 for a median income. $35,000 is unfortunately in a lot of cases the cutoff point for assistance. And $35,000 is not a lot of money, and people are struggling to make ends meet that are trying their hardest just to provide basic necessities for their families, and housing is a basic necessity. As a city council, we need to be more receptive. We need to be more receptive to developers who are willing to invest in workforce housing throughout our city. Woda Cooper Group is a prime example of that with Holly Point. Additionally, we could find ways to help retain and recruit city and school employees if we had public-private partnerships with developers or with corporate sponsors to help us to create a mixed-use complex where we could have retail and office space on the bottom floors and affordable workforce housing on top, to be able to offer affordable housing to recruit some teachers, to recruit police officers, to recruit city staff, to be able to allow them to come here for a period of time to say, as part of a recruitment package. Housing is really expensive, as we have seen over the last year and a half since the pandemic. It's really hard right now to find a piece of property to rent for less than $1,300 in some cases. And $1,300 for a lot of people, that's a lot of money. I mean, you're looking at some people that's over 60% of their monthly income. How can we expect for our citizens to thrive when they're literally dishing out over 60% of their income just to have a roof over their head? And in addition, once we get the affordable housing, we've got to be able to hold our landlords accountable. We've got to be able to protect the rights of people of our tenants who are giving their last dollar just to pay a piece of rent, but yet their property owners are not putting in the resources to maintain the facility. These are basic human needs. And as a council, we have the obligation of our citizens to hold our developers responsible, to hold our landlords responsible, and to be able to provide resources to ensure that everyone is given a level playing field, especially around the basic necessities of life.
All right, that makes sense. Now we're going to move on to a question regarding the CAT, and our report cards has aimed to measure the quality of work of our elected officials. One of those is basically their attendance. And also with commissions and other platforms like that, we want to make sure that our elected officials are people who attend at least 80% of the time. So I know this recently came out here regarding Portsmouth in the paper. So I want to begin with board member Tillage. Just your thoughts on how much that is important to you as someone seeking out city council to make sure you're able to be around as much things as possible.
You broke up a little bit. It might be my end. Are you referring to council members' responsibilities as far as like attending commission meetings and things?
Yes, a group like the Community Action Team would look at elected officials as someone who should try to get to as many meetings, regardless if it's a commission or a council or even civic league meetings, if they can make it, as they can. And as someone who's seeking out a council, and you just mentioned that you came from a civic league meeting earlier, how important is that to you?
Gotcha. Yes, being able to engage with our citizens is crucial. When you sign up to be an elected official or to be a community leader, your job is to be present. Your job is to be able to hear straight from the citizens. It is the citizens that elect us to office, and it is the citizens that we need to be able to listen to be able to get solutions from. One thing that I thoroughly enjoy when I'm attending civic leagues is to be able to hear the actual concerns that are coming straight from the neighborhoods. A lot of times we don't hear those things because city council meetings, sometimes can be very unwelcoming. And so to be able to go to them and to see for yourself the issues, those moments are priceless. And to be able to interact with them. As far as commission meetings are concerned, when you're signing up to serve in elected capacity, that's part of your job. Your job is to serve your committee assignments. Your job is to be able to fully represent your constituents. And so being able to have a schedule to do that's your job. Just like your full-time job is when you take that obligation, you take that oath, your job is to fully fulfill that. So being engaged outside of city council and outside of school board meetings is more than that. It's actually being a full-time community servant, a community leader, and actually engaging and understanding the needs, because that's how you actually get to understand people, is to be one-on-one with them in small groups. And to let them know that, you're a human being as well. Have to break down that barrier that people see elected officials on this pedestal as if elected officials are too good to come and speak to me. And anybody that knows me knows that I'm open, I'm transparent, open line of communication. And, that really helps to cement that in your community, to let the people know that you're for them and that you're listening.
I'd like to take that same question to Councilman Moody. How important is it to you to attend as many meetings as you can, commission meetings as you can, civic leagues? How much is important to you to just be amongst the public as much as possible?
It's interesting. Even as a council member, there's nothing in the council rules or the city charter that says a council member must attend meetings, but it shouldn't have to be a rule. If you're elected to an organization, whether it be council or any organization, if you choose to join an organization, your attendance, you should have enough interest that you would want to be there. I know in my length and time on city council, the best of my knowledge, I've missed less than 10 days in 24 years. And that includes vacation time and whatever, because I feel like I should be there. And same way with liaison positions. Council appoints liaisons to our boards and commissions, and we hold citizens accountable. We track the attendance for citizens, and if they don't attend certainly more than half of the meetings, they're subject to get removed from that board or commission. And I think council members should be subject to the same criteria. If you can't attend a meeting, a board and commission meeting as a council liaison, you should make that known and resign as the liaison, so council can appoint someone who can attend. So and it's important to know that a liaison on a board and commission, council liaison, even though they have no vote in the action there, from time to time they can express an opinion to the board or commission, and I think that's important as well. As far as attending civic league meetings, depending on the civic league. I know a lot of civic leagues. They're all right with you attending, but if you're an elected official and want to speak, they prefer that you contact them prior, which I think should be done. I know this past week, I think a couple of council members showed up at a civic league meeting, and they weren't on the agenda, but they insisted that they speak, and I don't operate that way. If I come to a civic league meeting, I'm actually there more in a listening mode than a speaking mode, unless I'm asked to speak. But I think it just comes with responsibility of being part of a board or commission, or being a council member. If you're going to be on something, be there, and your attendance speaks volumes.
Same question to Board Member Atkinson. What would be your take on trying to attend as many meetings as possible? And same thing with commission liaisonship. Do you happen to be appointed to some of those?
So attendance matters. Every school board member, council member, you can FOIA the attendance. So, you can see who's been coming to meetings and who hasn't. But since I've been on school board, I think I missed 3 meetings out of a 6-year term. So when I'm committed to a board, I'm committed. If I'm assigned a committee, my presence is there. I serve on over 5 boards. So with the civic league meetings, it's hard to work that in the schedule sometimes, and I want to attend civic league meetings when it's not political, outside of campaign season. I wish civic organizations would host us when it's off season, or invite us to just come speak outside of the political season, because everyone is gonna give you their best pitch, but once election season is over, what's next? So that's my next thing, outside of saying attendance matters. Once I attend some of the civic league meetings and they host the forums, that's one point that I'm gonna add. Thank you.
Ms. Donna Tsai, pretty much every time I've been out to a Portsmouth City Council meeting or watched one on a forum like YouTube, I've noticed that you've been there, so I appreciate that you attend a lot. Is that something you would want to continue on City Council, is attending as many things as possible?
Of course. Talking with the folks and bringing things to the City Council is our job. One of the things I'm finding, that I asked to be on the Historic Preservation Commission, and depends on who's choosing who to be on a commission. They either put you on it or they ignore you. And so that's what I'm finding. But then there's liaison reports at city council meetings that evidently I misunderstand what that means, because I thought that these council folks would say what they would I thought they would give a report on about what the people need, or what was a special thing to that they talked about or something. But I'm finding that they don't do any of that talking, so I misunderstand what their role is. But yeah, what my concern is communication with the elected. Back when Chief Hargis was chief, he talked with me, and he had 5 police service areas, and he had all the voting precincts in it and everything, and I kept that. And I'm seeing that we're not being represented because the 5, the other 2 are executive, the 5 are legislative. They don't say, hey, I'm going to take this district, you take that one, and so we're going to communicate with all the people. So I really believe in communication and talking and understanding and working together at the grassroots. Communication is so important to me. And I have one person that communicates with me, and the rest don't. And I feel like they're not doing their job. But anyway, communication and attending as many meetings you can, seeing what the needs are, get a structure in the city. So there is communication line. So that's it.
Hey, Conrad, I just want to add a comment. I'm just wondering who holds the record. Is it Donna or Mark Gijadowski for the most council meetings? I definitely can commend Donna on that. She definitely shows up to meetings.
That's at least a solid honorable mention, or perhaps a number 2. I've only been around since a couple months, so I'm gonna have to check that. And the community action team definitely will least of the 11. Now, the last 2 questions tonight, you can be as yes or no about this as you want, or you can take a little bit of time to explain your position. Here, we're going to go with Ms. Donna Side to start. This next question, it is in regards to the school system and their requested budget. Will you vote to provide the school system with their requested budget?
I'm going to say yes, 3 and 4. Yes.
All right. Now, I am now also remembering the fact that we do have 2 current school board members on this forum at the moment. I hope that doesn't change their opinion on this specific question. But would you, as a city council member, vote to approve the school system's budget?
That's easy. Yes. It's for time purposes. It's a yes for me.
All right. Let's move on to Councilman Moody. Going forward, would you vote yes, affirmative, on the school system's budget?
On 3, qualified, yes. I think as a council member, I think you want to be assured and it's your responsibility to want to know how the money is going to be spent, what the needs are, and in other words, you want to do the due diligence necessary before you approve the budget. And that would be the case not only for the school board, but for any appropriation from the taxpayers. But so it's a qualified yes.
All righty. Let's move on to Board Member Tillage. Would you, as a council member, vote yes to affirm the school system's requested budget?
Yes. Simple answer, yes.
Simple answer, yes. I like that. Last question tonight could also be a yes or no. It involves youth programs. in youth activities and jobs. And let's start with board member 10. Will you invest in youth programs, activities, and jobs?
Yes, most definitely I will do that. Unequivocally. Was this just a yes or no question, or you want me to elaborate?
I would like you to if you wish to.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I will definitely I'm a strong proponent of investing in youth organizations, in workforce training, anything that's going to set our youth and our citizens up for success. I am willing to do it. And not just our youth, but also adults who may need a second or third chance at life. That's what a local government is for, is to be able to provide for its citizens and invest in their citizens.
On to Councilman Moody. Will you invest in youth programs, activities, and jobs?
Yes, I would, because I think each of those things has an impact on crime. I think they're essential that we invest in all of those things. So yes.
Excellent. Board Member Atkinson, would you like to invest as a council member in youth programs, activities, and jobs?
Yes, the simple answer to that, yes. I'm still wondering why council hasn't, funded some of the youth organizations, that's out here doing the grassroots works in the community. But if I were on council, I mean, we had ARP money for so long, and it's still pending on hold. And a lot of the organizations that the names are being brought and thrown around and in meetings, these are some of the organizations that I brought to council 3 years ago. So, a lot of things could have been prevented. We could have been ahead um, of certain situations, but we got to start being proactive and not reactive to things. But again, simple answer, yes.
Alrighty, and let's move on to Ms. Donna Tsai. I know you like to make plenty of strong comments about spending matters as they come up on city council. So would you, as a council member, like to invest in youth programs, activities, and jobs?
Of course. Yes.
I like that answer. I like simplicity at its finest. And that brings us to the end of our questions tonight. And I want to give you guys a chance to sort of give a send-off message to Portsmouth citizens who are watching tonight and why they should vote for you. And let's begin with Ms. Donna Tsai.
Well, I like for people to vote for me. I want to bring the government back to the people. I like for the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, to come back to Portsmouth, where we're a patriotic city, honoring our past, honoring the folks, just bringing back humanity to our city. I don't know what else to say, but I just would like that we start looking at the value of everybody that's here. So vote for me if you choose November the 8th. So have a good night, folks.
And again, thank you so much for being here, Ms. Donna Tsai. On to Board Member Atkinson. Give us a send-off message to the Portsmouth viewers tonight on why they might want to vote for you.
First, I would like to thank you, Conrad, and the CATS team for hosting this forum. Great questions. Lately in forums, the questions have been, weird. I love that these questions were focused on, what we can bring to council, what changes need to be made. I mean, we was getting to the meat and potatoes of, the questions. So thank you guys for that. As far as voting for me, shameless plug, like my Facebook page, Lakeisha Clue Atkinson. That's my public figure page. Right now, I'm going to be brief, but I have been welcoming citizens to join me on Zoom if they have additional questions, or we can have in-person meetings to where I come out to your neighborhood or to your door. for a more personable approach. Again, feel free to message me if you want to have an additional conversation regarding my platform of fully funding public safety, economic development, providing grants and resources to small businesses, funding education, and also funding recreation and infrastructure. So that's the short side of it. I know with our city, those things can be accomplished. We gotta plug into the casino while we can. I'm curious of how much of the tax dollars will be going to fund education and other programs in the city. So that's something that we can be transparent with the citizens about. But I'm an advocate for all people, proven leadership, proven results. Everything that I say, I do. Um, I'm not, gonna vote one way if it's not right. So I don't vote for what's right all the time. I vote for what's the truth. So that's what you would get with me as a council member. Thank you.
And again, thank you for joining us tonight. Let's move on to Councilman Bill Moody. Give us a send-off message about why Portsmouth citizens should consider you in November.
Well, thank you, Conrad, and thank you to the Community Action Team for hosting this tonight. The questions have been excellent. As I mentioned, I'm running for re-election because I think it is time to put a halt to the embarrassing decisions and actions of the present council. And I'm very confident that come January, we can right Portsmouth ship and restore a sense of pride and promise that comes from making our streets safe again, from attracting businesses and bringing good paying jobs to our city, and investing in our schools so our kids do have options for attending college or pursuing good paying trade school jobs and addressing our city's infrastructure needs. But I've been on councils that have been very successful, and they disagreed, but they knew how to disagree without being disagreeable. They knew how to disagree without embarrassing themselves and our city. And disagreement can be a healthy thing if done correctly. And I've also been on councils that knew the value of getting together at retreats and formulating a vision on where they want the city to go, and to take in that vision to our citizens to get buy-in. Those are the actions of councils that are working for the people, not against the people. So I would certainly appreciate their votes come November the 8th, and even starting September the 23rd, just in a few days. So once again, thank you for the time tonight. And I'll say good night to Mr. Tillage and Ms. Atkinson and Ms. Sy. Good night, Conrad.
Thank you, sir, for joining us tonight. And lastly, Board Member Tillage, give us a good send-off message for the Portsmouth viewers tonight as to why they should consider you in November.
Yes, thank you, Conrad. Thank you and the Community Action Team for hosting this forum on this evening. Great questions. We were able to talk about some of the issues that the people of Portsmouth actually face, instead of talking about personal issues that are going on. This November, we have an option to either pick a Portsmouth that is going to continue to take us in a downward spiral, or are we going to pick a Portsmouth that is able to move us into the future? We have a city council now who is not respected on the regional stage. We have an option this November to change that. And so I'm running for Portsmouth City Council to bring back a level of integrity, to bring a vision, and to bring hope back to the city of Portsmouth. I'm running on 4 platform issues. Number 1 being rebuilding our infrastructure, improving our public safety, investing in education, and recruiting economic development. We've got to be able to address those 4 pillars in order to be able to build the Portsmouth that we all dream about. Serving on Portsmouth School Board has been an honor. To be able to invest in our students, to be able to invest in our teachers, to be able to provide the best opportunities and tools so that our students can succeed. And as a member of City Council, I will continue my commitment to not only our school division, not only to our teachers and students, but I will continue my commitment to the citizens of Portsmouth by bringing in a level of transparency, by making sure that I address the issues that matter to the people of Portsmouth that are actually going to be the decisions that many of our individuals are actually facing. We have an opportunity this November to change that. And so, as it was previously stated, early voting begins this Friday, September 23rd. It will 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, for the next 6 weeks leading up until Election Day. I ask that you all please vote for me for a seat on school board, for City Council. We have 3 open seats, and I just need one of them. And so I hope that I will be one of your choices for City Council come this election season / election day. For more information, you can please visit my website at www.vernontillich.com. You can find me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Feel free to reach out to me, and we will change Portsmouth in a positive direction. And it will take every citizen in Portsmouth to ensure that we are able to build the very best Portsmouth that we possibly can be. Again, my name is Vernon Tillich, and thank you, Conrad, and thank you to my fellow colleagues who were able to join on this evening.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Board Member Tillage. I also want to personally thank, as a group, the guests tonight who are running for Portsmouth City Council, and I know that there are several others out there who are also running. I would like to also extend this very forum for them. Perhaps later this week, perhaps next week, get in touch with me. I'd like to give you a greater Portsmouth forum as well and ask you the same hard-hitting questions for Portsmouth, because the Portsmouth citizens need to know from you. I'd like to thank the viewers. I'd like to thank all these commentators tonight. I see them all come through. Thank you so much for that. It means a lot. I also hope that you look up the community action team, learn what we're about, and consider joining us so we can hold the feet of our elected officials to the fire, because they're serving us, and we need to make sure they're doing the best to improve our marginalized communities. So again, look up the community action team. Stay tuned going forward to our stream team, because we're going to be having more forums like this. I hope you have a great Monday night, and you can go back to watching football. Thank you, and good night.